you really, really want it, all you gotta do is get up on your dig heels out. You know what we're talking about. You know what it's gonna do. You made it. Shuck it up, quack, quack. We're about to get into it. Everything's alleged. Do your own research. We're gonna get lit up in this piece. Let's go. Yeah. I do want to say rest in peace, R.I.P. to the Kevin Samuels. True enough, a lot of people didn't agree with like stuff he had to say. Don't get me wrong, I didn't watch him every day, but I respected his platform because as a platform, you have the right to talk about whatever you want to talk about, and whoever don't want to hear about it can go to somebody else's page. So I respected his grind, I respected his hustle, and it was just very unfortunate that it ended. Now, I didn't like everything about what he did, but I didn't have to. But I still got information. I got valid information from him at times on how a man thought, especially a man that has money. And I really was able to like talk to my father in a way, my bad, that I would say like, okay, like that's the way men think. This is the way this and this and that. It just we just really didn't have those conversations. You know, we kind of tried a couple times. It was just a little weird, awkward. But I looked at Kevin Samuels as the voice of the fathers who were not present or whatever. And I feel like he didn't have to give us the information. He just chose to. And the sad part is I really feel like that's how men that have money think. And just men in general, because actually the person who introduced me to him wasn't a person that I felt like had money, even though they could have had money. So people of all ages that's in the men category looked up to Kevin Samuels and valued what he had to say. So I appreciated him because I felt like it gave me insight into how men think. And to be honest, even though it was crazy, it was delusional, in my opinion, I think it actually made sense because why else would you see men acting the way they act, doing the things they do? Because this is really how they looked at women. And for that, I respected him for opening my eyes. I may not have liked everything that he said, but it definitely opened my eyes. So let's get to the fact that now he has moved on in his journey. He's no longer with us, unfortunately. And I really feel like foul play was at hand, and that's what gets under my skin, because I don't feel like it was natural causes or anything like that. I really feel like there was foul play. And my conversation is what happened? What was the reason? Why did people feel the need to end a powerful man, a black man, on a platform? Whether or not we agree with what he said, he still was powerful. He got a lot of attention, a lot of people to think, a lot of people got under a lot of people's skin. He triggered a lot of people. And on my channel, I also trigger people, or try to as much as I can, but not as much as he did, you know. Not yet. Maybe in the future. Okay, so when you think about what he brought to the table, one thing that I respected and admired about him, and you can tell me what you admire down below, because I definitely appreciate your conversations and your opinion as well. Question: are you subscribed? If you are, thank you so very much. I really appreciate it. So also, Kevin Samuels was a voice of family to me. In a society where so many families are broken, he was a person who seemed to come from that, and he wanted change. That's how I looked at Kevin Samuels, as a person who really didn't grow up around their father, because the way society is, the men are grown up with their mothers more than likely, unless legal proceedings, say otherwise. So I felt like, because even a lot of people would say he was a feminine man, even though I do know that some men can have feminine characteristics and still really like women. But guess what? There's also some women out there raising their sons to be a certain kind of way because they don't have the father around, and they can only give what they can give. So if your son is only seeing a certain kind of thing, then what do you expect? So I feel like he was talking out in anger or bitterness because of how he was raised and how he saw his dynamic growing up. Not that he was against it, but he felt like he probably could have did better with his father there. And to be honest, I do feel like a father can raise a son a lot better than a mother. And just because there's a dynamic to men that women just cannot understand and will not be able to understand. And I feel like that's one of the reasons he was trying to keep families together. He was saying stuff like, okay, if a man sleeps with you more than once, they would consider having a family with you. And I never thought of it like that. True enough, this doesn't mean that that's every single case. But I did, from the person who did introduce me to him, that I felt like that could have been the case because it got around like those conversations was something that we talked about. You know what I'm saying? So, like, maybe there was some truth to that. You know what I'm saying? And that's something I needed to know because as a woman, of course, you got to be careful of who you interact with because, you can bring life and stuff into this and you're stuck with a person for the rest of your life, whatever. But to be honest, what is so wrong with that, Anybody I feel like you interact with, you should be willing to have some kind of interaction with them because anytime you reproduce with somebody, you're going to be seeing that other person for a long period of time. And I see a lot of people out here are having those moments with people they can't even stand, don't even really like. And that's what I don't really understand because you're bringing life into a world. You're not just affecting you. You're affecting that child's life because if you don't like the person you're with, then what is the interaction with their father or their mother going to be like? And that's what I felt like Kevin was trying to say, like, look, if you're having babies with people, be with that person. And I think that's brilliant. I think that's good. I feel like if you do have a child with somebody, I feel like both parties do deserve to be with their kids. Now, I know that that's not going to always happen the way society is set up. That's why I feel like you need to be more conscious on who you're laying with because a child shouldn't have to suffer what the parents' mistakes are. And I feel like if you're able to be attracted to someone sexually, then you should be somewhat attracted to them mentally to where you can see yourself with them in some form or some fashion. And I feel like he was saying like a man wants to take care of his seed, wants to take care of his home. And so if a man reproduces with you, and it keeps fooling with you, they could consider a future with you, which I feel like more women need to do this as well. Now, true enough, a couple men are going to be stuck in their ways and want things done a certain way, and a lot of our women don't submit and don't succumb to that because we were raised by women, strong women, our mothers, and I feel like he was also trying to break that dynamic apart too, and he was checking and addressing a lot of women. Because to be honest, men and women do, I feel like, have roles. A lot of them have not been addressed. A lot of them have not been talked about. And people just didn't know how to take him. But do I feel like it's right that his life was taken too soon? I don't. Just because you don't like a person, because of what they say, does not give you the right to put your hands on them and comfort them in a real, ill-mannered way. Because, for instance, it was very weird to me how a nurse supposedly was there and he still passed. That just didn't even make any sense. And also when you went to the woman's page, which I feel was one of the people who he had on his platform at one time, but just a different hair color. I'm not going to really speak on who it was, but it seems as if she definitely was on his channel before. And it looked like she had a lighter color hair. But on the profile picture that they had produced, the person wasn't even a real profile. But this profile made national news. But this person was not a real profile. It was fake. So that brought up a lot of red flags that I feel like should not have been ignored. Because if you are a person like Kevin Samuels, it's no way you're gonna mess with a person who don't even have an Instagram profile that's either public or they have access to the pictures. You know what I'm saying? Now, this profile was public, but there was only like 6 pictures on it, and each picture looked like a different person. You didn't find that odd? You really think a high profile a man who has a lot of women against him is going to let that kind of person into their home? That just seemed odd to me. So even when he did the podcast, one of his last podcasts, he kind of, I feel like, was letting the world know he was uncomfortable, because it was no way in heck he would have started a podcast visible to everybody with him arguing with another woman to leave his presence. Like, that's something that should have never happened. When a person tells you to leave, you should leave automatically. But it was as if he wanted us to see that because he felt uncomfortable or he felt like something was wrong. But true enough, he told her not to get in the camera because I think he was more trying to protect her, because he didn't think that would be his last podcast. I just feel like he thought like he wanted to make a documented note about it in case something happened later on or this and that, so it could be put there. But that's not something that Kevin Samuels would ever want to put on his live, because he's an image consultant. He's really concerned about his image, and arguing with another female to leave his place, it seemed like a cry for help. It definitely did not seem like something that he normally would do at all. And then on top of that, after it came out, there was a woman who claimed to be his daughter, long lost daughter, which he really hadn't heard about, and she acted like she was talking to him all the time, and that he had health conditions with breathing. And you know, his whole show, I never heard him wheezing, gasping. The man would talk for hours and hours. He never seemed winded. He seemed very much in shape. So that was odd to me. Then his lawyer came out and said that that was not his daughter. So yeah, I kind of felt like something was gonna go haywire when he started getting in the industry. Because when you're in the industry, a lot of people, if you're making money, they look at this almost, some people look like that's all their money, especially if you're a certain race of people. And it's like, if you're not going to follow suit and agree to do this and this and this and that, then they're going to get rid of you. Okay? Now, I don't know if it happens in every race of people, but definitely with certain races of people, it seems to be more prevalent. And the reason I feel like he was targeted, and the real reason why I want justice for him, because I feel like he was targeted because he was trying to bring black families together. I really feel like he didn't grow up with his dad like that. He was around his mom, and maybe that's why a lot of people cry to say he had feminine characteristics. What do you think? If you're never around men, if you're always around women all the time, what do you think? It's just like a dog being raised around chickens or a duck being raised around bears. You're going to adapt to what you see, what you know. Okay, that's why I do commend fathers who are in their children's lives, because it's definitely needed. And also fathers who are active in their son's life, because I really feel like a woman cannot raise a son, because there's different dynamics that goes into manhood that we expect and want. And women don't have those characteristics. They may want to have it, they want to claim they have it, but a lot of them you don't have in real life. I mean, for one, you bleed every month. Not saying you can't do it, but you're not going to do it like a man, okay? Especially those strong, powerful men. I'm just going to be real. And I'm going to consider myself a very strong woman. I was raised by a strong woman. But do I consider her a man? No. Because men don't have the high emotions, high set it off emotion that women have. And that's one thing that a boy needs, okay, to develop his masculinity, to have, not to be so active with his emotions. True enough, you can be in touch with them, but yeah. men are better raisers of boys, I feel, unless they're just a toxic man in general. Then I wouldn't want anybody around them. Okay, so for that reason, I feel like he was targeted because he was bringing families together. And for those people who didn't have a father, I feel like he was a voice, because I too didn't have my father just always telling me this and telling me that. So to hear how men thought was mind-boggling to me, and I didn't like it, but I felt it was the truth, and it made so much sense of why the family unit is broken. And that's one reason I respected him, I admired him, because I felt like he was trying to bring the black family unit together and giving gems, because a lot of black families are broken, and that's just the truth in my opinion. And do I feel like that's a reason to target somebody? No, I don't. Because money had to be paid to get rid of this guy. And I think it's only because he was trying to bring black families together. Because he was saying stuff like a man will want to be with you if he's with you, having sex with you more than one time. And I think that's commendable, because I feel like a lot of women don't think about these things when they interact with certain guys. They're just like, okay, I want some child support. Or, you know, I want a child. And I don't think that's a reason to have a child. I feel like you need to be very proactive on who you have a child with, because that's 18 years of your life going back and forth, seeing the same person over and over and over again. And it's not you who's suffering or the other person is suffering. It's the child that suffers if they don't get to see their father or their mother as often as they could, or they're subjected with the parenting of just one parent because that's what the parent wants to do. It's not the child's fault that y'all don't like each other. So I feel like Kevin was trying to help men, broken homes, broken units of systems that is getting out of control, because I feel was raised in one of those systems where he was nothing. He didn't really have the fatherly example in his life, and it affected his life in a major way. And I just feel like he wanted to see that, and he wanted to mend that. And it's not fair to those that are coming up who want to build the family unit together as well, because they're going to be targeted too, just because he's targeted. So if you knock him out, regardless if you like him or not, I don't care if you don't like somebody. You don't have to like somebody. You don't even have to watch the person's channel. And that was my thing. If people didn't like him so much, they sure did watch him. And I guess they say that, your biggest hater is going to be one of your biggest supporters or fans. They're going to make sure they watch everything you do. But at the same time, it's like you don't have to. Move on. It should be free speech. Just turn the channel. Don't watch him. And the fact that the man was being watched is what got my attention, because it let me know that there's somebody out there in this world who agreed with him. And it was a lot of people out in the world, especially men, who did agree with him. It was actually a man who introduced me to Kevin Samuels for me to watch, to give me pointers. And this man wasn't, in my opinion, a high-profile man, but then, too, I wasn't in his bank account. But he even idolized it, and he kind of was I saw characteristics in him that Kevin Samuels was speaking about. And it was very, very, very shocking to me, because when I saw this person before that, I never thought that that's the way they felt. So I like the fact that it was eye-opening and it was telling. And they also gave an image of this black successful man of being broke. And that's another thing that I really did not like, because it was like they were trying to tarnish his image again. Because not only were they making false people in his life, false profiles, false people saying that they're related to him when he's not, and false saying he has a health condition, they were talking about his money. Now, you and I both know this man was getting paid. He was getting money. And it would be times where I would be like, I want to be like Kevin Samuels, because I would only be there on his channel a few periods of time. On most occasions, I wouldn't stay on there like that long, but sometimes I did, because he really did crack me up, y'all. I'm a real person. I'm gonna give it to you regardless of how you like it kind of person. And Kevin Samuels was that way. Like, he didn't care if you didn't like him. And I'm the same way, and it really cracked me up, because like, some people be so in their feelings, and I be like, I didn't take nothing he said to heart, because he don't know me. I'm a person, like, I'm not going to take nothing to heart. You entitled to your own opinion. So I did watch him sometimes for entertainment, but I didn't take it like seriously and for information. But the 5 or 10 minutes that I would be on his channel at times, it was nothing. This man wasn't getting donations of $300, $500, $50, like $100 within those 5 minutes. This man was getting thousands of dollars per night. And that's the only reason he was really going back to back on podcasts. The man was getting paid. So to say that he was broke was a huge determinant of character and a huge understatement. The man was far from broke. If he was, he may have his money in another account, but he was far from broke. And so I just want justice for Kevin, because people wanted his demise, because they went to great lengths to end him and then forget about him. And on top of that, they knew certain women had been insulted by them. They reached out to them. People paid them money to entice him. Because like I said, I feel like the person was on his show. And they got rid of him. Okay? So that's serious. Kevin Samuels was not a rapper. Kevin Samuels was a powerful black man trying to bring unity among his people, especially when it came to family, children, marriage. And I don't think there was nothing wrong with that piece. But obviously somebody did, because we've been broken up families for years, whether it is your men in the penitentiary system, to back when they was picking cottons and the men had to watch their families abused in front of their faces. We've been under attack for years. And I thought it was ended, but obviously they're still trying to push that agenda of broken homes. So fact that this man was put down. And that's the only reason I'm standing up for, because he was talked about in mass media and a false narrative was given, the fake news agenda, and he was dismissed, never more heard from. And that's the problem that I don't like, because it was a setup on a high scale, in my opinion. Now, true enough, it's allegedly, but I don't feel like it was an accident. I don't feel like he had any health issues. I don't feel like he knew that woman like that. I feel like he was being nice. He was set up. He invited the wrong person into his place. And I feel like his last video was a cry for help or documentation on his uncomfortability of the whole situation. Because otherwise, I feel like it would have not have came out. So I do feel sorry for his family, because it definitely was not expected. He probably was taking care of a lot of people. And I feel bad that I want justice for him, because it was not talked about. It was so many red flags, so many things that did not make sense, did not add up. But just because people did not like a person's character when they could have easily turned away, didn't care if a person's life was taken, just because they have an opinion. And that's what I don't like. And I just hope that justice is served. And he's never going to be forgotten because of how it happened. It was intentional, in my opinion. I feel like it was a plot. And I feel like it was against black families. And I don't like that. So that's why I'm speaking about it. And that's why I hope that something can be done to rectify this situation. Because it shouldn't have happened. It shouldn't have never been an issue and never gotten this far. Because if it happened to him, it can happen to anybody else that follows in his suit to bring the black family unit together. And that's where I'm worried about, because it's going to be people that are going to try to mend the unit. And if he was targeted, any one of those people can also be targeted. Because right now there's an agenda to bring division, especially among race in the community, among black people. And I'm tired of the disunity. I'm ready for unity and peace and understanding and agree to disagree among the black people, period. But Of course, I definitely want to know how you feel about this. Do you think it was a setup? Do you think it was a cry for help when he did that last video? Anything that I said, I want to know your comments about it, because your comments are very important to me. And I just keep hope alive, and don't let this situation get you down, because we serve a higher power and we are protected. We are divine, and they already know that. That's why they come against us so hard. And make your own opinion. Don't necessarily listen to what I have to say. And that's all I'm going to say about that. We have to stick together, regardless if you agree with somebody or not. And we're more powerful together, way more powerful than we would ever be apart. Well, we came to the end of another amazing production. But we have this piece. Until next time, make sure you like if you liked any part of this video. And definitely comment down below so I can know what you think about what we discussed here on today. Feel free to share if you feel like you want to let somebody else know the tea or the allegedly. Yeah. And join the fam bam, because you know you lit. And we like you up in this bit permanently. And subscribe, because you such a motherfucking vibe. We out.